Hello, good evening, and welcome back to another edition of Crossroads, always brought to you by the Ministry of Youth Development and Sports as part of its youth development program. As always, I am your host, Kareem Nelson. But just before I introduce Krista like I normally do, I just want to apologize to our audience for the extended break that we took. Obviously, there was some important national discussions happening. There was the Appropriation Bill 2023-2024, and obviously right after that we had the Jazz and Arts Festival. And here at Crossroads we wanted to kind of commemorate or celebrate jazz and arts in our own way, and that will be the theme of our episode today, as we have one guest representing the aspect of jazz and another representing the arts. So I've spoken enough, so let me pass on to my wonderful guest, Krista. How you feeling?
I'm your guest.
My guest, my co-host.
I say, Lucia, it's so nice to see you. Of course, we did miss you over our break.
Yeah, we did.
I am Krista Saintage, and as Kareem said, we're doing our part in commemorating the Jazz and Arts Festival and the success that it actually was. And one of our first guests, he did participate in Arts and the City Cup that was commemorating jazz. And we're seated here with Ethan Fletcher. Hi, Ethan.
Hi.
Tell the people about you.
Hi, my name is Ethan Fletcher. I'm a hip hop and spoken word artist, and I'm very happy to be here.
Awesome.
Hip hop artist.
Yep.
What is that? What really is that, Ethan?
Hip hop?
Yeah, hip hop. Being a hip hop artist, because that might be something new. People have not really heard about.
Well, I don't do much hip hop. I do mostly spoken word for now, because spoken word is something that I don't really see much of, so I decided to take it upon myself to do more of it and expose it more with the arts. But hip hop is something I also do on the side now and then when I can. So.
Yeah. And how exactly did you get started in spoken word?
The spoken word I got started due to injustice. I saw a lot of injustice happening at the time, the surrounding I was in, and people weren't really speaking out on it. Now, at that time, it was hard for me to speak. So I needed an outlet in order to expose that. So one day I saw this rapper called Cassidy, and he was basically giving out he was rapping in his own style, like a freestyle. So I said, it would be cool if I took this and basically preached or spoke to people, but I used it in a more lyrical way. And then that's how I came up with what people call spoken word. Back then I didn't know it was spoken word. I thought poetry was roses are red, violets are blue, like 3 lines. But then I just started to do it in my own development, and then eventually people told me that this was spoken word, so that's how I came up with spoken word. So
Ethan used to be shy.
You used to be shy? That's hard to believe, because I've seen you on some big stages performing for some enormous crowds.
Yeah.
How were you able to maybe overcome that shyness and be able to put yourself on those platforms?
Experience. I guess you have to go through the mistakes and the failures to eventually, do it for it. So like many times when I would go and perform, I would break my voice, I would choke, I would make mistakes, I would get nervous, I would stop, I would walk, I would come back. So I guess all that failure and all that downfall eventually just built up the confidence. So it just became something normal now.
Amazing. And I want to get into that beginning. You started out spoken word. You told us how you started it out and why you started it out. But recently you were part of Word and Altered Scale, which was spearheaded by Head Funk for Arts in the City. And I believe last year you participated in Jazz Sampler.
Yeah.
So what's that first performance like on one of those big stages?
I guess no matter how experienced you get, it's always nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
I think even some of the biggest artists will always tell you before they get on the stage, they're very nervous and everything like that. So, and that's something that gave me comfort, knowing that I'm not alone. But it was a great experience, and I guess the more experience, it builds more confidence, it builds more, understanding on how to prepare yourself and everything like that. So it was really, these experiences were really good.
And you remember your first performance?
Yeah, I remember my first performance.
Oh my gosh, look at that face. Come on, no share. Come on, don't be shy.
The first performance, again, it was nerve-wracking because at that time I was young, I didn't know how to speak, but because that was the outlet that I used, I didn't really have to focus on people, I just really had to focus on what I did. But it was very nerve-wracking, but then I knew the bigger picture was that I was encouraging people, I was helping them out, so that kind of overshadowed the being nervous and lack of self-esteem and all of that at the time.
Ethan, when was it? What was it?
That was probably when I was 17, 16.
17.
Yeah,
That was
16,
for what
17.
audience, by the way?
That was actually in a church.
Okay.
That's when I used to go to church. So that's when I performed in church. But we would have youth nights and stuff like that.
Right.
So it started off like that, and then it got to more when the churches had more at the culture center. They would have like youth events at the culture center. And then, I mean, I used to be watching other artists perform in the culture center, and then people used to tell me, when you getting up there? And I told them soon. You know, I used to just imagine it. And then now I started performing on culture center stages, and then eventually from there it just started growing up, you know. And there's even a spoken word I did in 2013 when I was writing, and I was saying to myself, or in the poem, that I will be performing in different nations and stuff like that. And then that started happening. So that now that I'm performing it, I'm saying like in 2013 I wrote this and I said this, and then it's happening. Manifesting. Yeah,
Gives inspiration.
Yeah,
but
that's right.
I know you referenced the shyness earlier, it being nerve-wracking. But then you also mentioned, well, the platform you started on was injustice. Now that's a pretty heavy thing to get into. What was some of the, I guess, injustices that you maybe experienced or saw that you thought like, hey, I can't let this just go by, I need to speak about this, I need to represent this on a bigger platform?
Well, at the time it was, again, going to church at the time. I saw a lot of the leaders of the church manipulating people, using them for their money and their wealth, taking stuff from them, you know, and then, you know, using different manipulative ways to basically take from people. And people weren't really saying anything because all of them weren't as wealthy as the leaders in the church. So I used to see that, I used to like really break my heart. And then also like even outside, when you look at more like politics, government leaders and stuff like that, the way like they would again manipulate the people. So like people would have the issues, they will speak about it in co-workers and everyone, but they won't basically stand up to say anything because I guess they'll be afraid of how it may affect their jobs or whatever. So like I saw spoken word as the outlet. If I could write it in a way that, because people enjoy spoken word, and if I could portray it in a video or something that can captivate people, then we'll get people to hear, and then I'll kind of be the voice for some of these things.
So we spoke on the origin, you spoke on, you know, that passion that you have for it, but the people who are watching right now, they might not know you, and we have your content, so we're going to play it.
Awesome.
So please enjoy these two spoken word poems by Ethan Fletcher.
Feels like I'm standing on the edge of a bridge in my life, and I'm looking down into the darkness of the ocean's abyss, hearing voices calling my name. You see, they're begging me to jump in and submerge myself into forgetfulness. And for some reason I had the guts to turn my back towards that ocean and start walking, but it only took one bad decision that life had to bring. It caused me to misplace my footing, and then before I knew it, I was sinking. I mean, it happened so fast, confused, I couldn't even comprehend what happened to what's now happening because it was pleasantly terrifying. And I'm sinking. Yo, I'm standing here like, when did this happen? When did I become so paralyzed, so numb that I didn't even realize I gave in? I mean, I fought so long to hold on to this, but in the end I just let myself go. So he decided to run away, and now I'm lost and I'm lonely. You see, I'm just in a really bad place and I'm trying to find myself. Has anyone seen the old me? Nah, I mean the real me. You see, the forgiven, the innocent, the not taking life so heavy, or being so angry, or gave a damn, or took people seriously. Me. But then he came back and he found me. A faceless image of a face I couldn't even recognize. So I'm here standing, staring at my reflection, shouting, cursing from the top of my lungs, cause all I see is a curse was worthless. So I spat in his face and I told him, you will be no better. And then Ches filled his eyes and he stared right back at me like he'd seen a monster. But no one sees the little boy weeping, who's trapped in the cage hiding, no. You see, no one sees the horror within. They only see the mask of smiles and laughter that I used to escape my inner Halloween. And I can assure you it's all tricks, there's no treat to it. Well, I feel like a surrogate. I was told that it gets better at the surface, bruh. All you have to do is breathe, right? But tell me, how can I when it feels like every breath I take, I suffocate? See, so many of us search for love to fix us, but Many of us search the wrong place and it pulls us in deeper. But it said that if you have a little faith, then you close your eyes and you see everything. Like how in the night, the stars shine bright. Like in your darkness, you witness the works of the Maker. You see, not everyone has a happy ending, but I can assure you that not everyone has to have a bad one either. But here's a blade to my gullet, and I was sitting there, begging for strength to set my final destination. I mean, I'm afraid to die, but I've searched so long for death that even he decided to take a vacation. I mean, I ain't that much of an abomination, just left for dead and gone. So I'm pleading to anyone on this earth, the skies, or beyond. I said I'm ain't that much of an abomination, just left for dead and gone. So I'm pleading to anyone on this earth in my despair, the skies, and beyond, and beyond, and beyond. Is that what they told you? That it wouldn't be possible to do the things that you want to? You see, disability is all based on mindset. So don't ever let those who don't walk in your shoes tell you where to take the next step. Because one day you're gonna look back at these moments and you don't want to be the person who has a jar full of regrets. You see, it's not even about a disability, but the fact that you get up every day to face this world, that shows humility. And trust me, not many can possess this ability. You see, the creator of life created life and gave you possibility over disability. And anyone who does not know the value in life, or eventually even their own destiny, are the ones who are truly disabled. But understand that to be disabled just means that you're able to pursue your purpose differently. Because life is a journey, so take a moment and roll with me. I believe you have what it takes. It no longer becomes a dream if you just stay awake and begin to create. Because somebody gave you the will to embody all that is necessary. Believe me, I've seen those who can't walk stand tall, and some are blind but still have the clearest vision of where they ought to be. Some lack speech, but their actions of bravery speak so loud that total strangers are left to stand proud. A witness to evidence that human rights are beyond pen and paper, and I concur that those who need to make a difference are more blind than those who can't see. So what say we? We say just respect me. I don't need you to lie to me. Your lies affect me. Quit playing games. We don't need your pity. Actually, what's funny? It's your problem if you don't understand us fully. But that's where we step in with CDB, providing quality education to improve and equip you with the best opportunity. Your future is our prize, and this present moment will unravel the obvious surprise that you are the hope. Nick Vasijic, Stephen Wilshire, Jessica Jacoby, and Anastasia Paganis. Nothing stopped them from defying their limits. So tell me again, what is it exactly that they told you?
Some really fantastic work there by Ethan, and that was just a sneak peek into the myriad of works that he has done over the years, and we're going to get into that when we go into the deeper aspects of the interview. But for now, we're just going to go for a short break, so I'm just begging that you bear patience with us, and then we'll be right back very soon.
So the camp, it teaches us how to express ourselves in healthier ways and how to come out, to express your feelings, and how to not be shy and how to bold out. Today we learn how to deal with conflict, and that's something a lot of young people get into nowadays because of gangs and probably being envious of everybody. So today we're learning how to deal with it. So yeah.
No need to fight, no need to get on with each other. We can just solve a conflict by just saying sorry or sorry, or just coming together and talking about it.
right, guys, and we're back. Hopefully, we didn't have you waiting too long. So we're just gonna get right into the discussion with Ethan. And I mean, guys, I must admit, I was struggling with the name of the first,
Very much
the
so.
first spoken
Believe
word.
you.
But I've gotten the name down. It's Boy on the Bridge.
Yes.
Right? All right. So just speak to us a little bit about that concept, what you really wanted to bring out through that project, and how well you think you executed it. And things.
Yeah, so the Boy on the Bridge, that's a time or phase, which is a phase I think everyone goes through. That was depression. So I was going through a very tough depression for years. And then there was a time period where I was hearing a lot of people in St. Lucia was committing suicide. So then I wanted to basically give my side of the story, not really to give a solution and say like, this is how you get through it, because I didn't really know. I don't really think like there's a solution on how to get through it. I think it's something you have to kind of wade through and live out. So I give my testimony of it, just to let people know that you're not the only one going through it. And the fact that I'm still here performing it shows that, I got through it and here I am today. So yes, that's really what it was, kind of grasp people's attention and kind of show them that I know exactly what they're going through.
And that's truly the means of many spoken word poems and the origins of many spoken word artists. And the second one is that what they told you. Now I saw many interesting things going on. Can you tell us about how that came into development? Because it's not just you there.
Yeah. So I work for the EQUIP, that's Ministry of Education Quality Improvement Project. And what happened is that they wanted to do a jingle to basically show, all the work, because EQUIP is doing a fantastic job, rehabilitating schools and helping special needs students out and other schools out, providing equipment for them and a whole bunch of stuff. So they needed to do a jingle, basically showing the different things that they're doing. And they wanted me to do a jingle with the spoken word. And I kind of wanted to use that opportunity to kind of show people that, like, it was not supposed to target just special needs kids, but showing that there's a part where I say that disability is more of a mindset thing. So kind of targeting people as well, to let them know that, disability is more than just a physical aspect of life. So so that's when we did that, and then it came out very well. We kind of ran through different ideas, and yeah.
All right. I know earlier with Boy on the Bridge, you spoke about the bouts of depression. I just want to know, when you were conceptualizing that spoken word, were you going through your own bout of depression at that time? And if so, recognizing that May is also a mental health month, we always speak about people channeling those things through various means, whether it be going out to run or putting it into music or putting it into poem and whatnot. So just speak about why that was your outlet and it worked so well for you during that time.
Well, for that poem, as you can, shout out to Joel Paul Cinema. He was the one who recorded that, and we ran through different ideas. But as you can see in the poem, it shows like fall in the sea and everything. All this is meant to represent, that when you get into depression, it kind of makes you feel like you need to stay home, stay by yourself, stay away from people, don't go out. And that's like the illusion that happens. But the thing you have to do is go out more. As much as you don't want to do it, you have to go out, you have to be around people, you have to kind of see what's out there. If you stay by yourself, it lingers, and it gets worse. So you have to go out. And again, the poetry was a way for me to kind of express that and bring it out. So yeah.
You talk about the creative process, creating that one and the mindset that you were in then. Is there anything that you're conceptualizing now? Is there anything you're working on?
Working on? Not particular. I mean, I write ideas down. I have a whole list of ideas and stuff like that. So as whenever the inspiration hits me, or whenever I'm just sitting there one day, then I just start putting things together, and then boom, something is happening. Yeah. So.
Well, I think an interesting contrast to note is that I know you spoke about Boy on the Bridge, right? Boy on the Bridge, and you spoke about that bout about dealing with depression. But I know you also have another piece, Champion. I think I saw that performance. What was that one like for you? Was it like some sort of rising from the ashes kind of tale, or what was Champion for you? And I saw you championing it on a stage.
Yeah. So Champion definitely came after Boy on the Bridge. So Champion was more of when I came out of the depression. And then, you know, I started seeing, you know, the Most High working in a lot of ways, like things that I always used to think about before it happened, and the way these things happen, they started happening. You know, like I said, when I wasn't performing on stages, but I would imagine myself on the stage, and I wrote Champion before I ever performed on any big stages. And then, you know, it started happening. And there's the way these things started happening, the favors like started coming through, and you know, all this kind of stuff. So then, Champion was really, like you said, a rise from all the depression and everything. You know, so just kind of me starting to believe in myself more, starting to trust more in the Most High and whatnot. So, yeah.
And you've kind of developed, you've grown in that journey, and it's been a couple years now, and you've been performing on big stages. What has it been like? Have young performers, young poets come up to you, expressed interest in taking on spoken word poetry, or just looking for inspiration from you specifically?
Yeah, many people have come to me and they said, I wrote this poetry, but I'm too shy. I don't want to bring it out to the public.
Ethan, tell the trend. I used to be shy too.
Yeah, I did actually. But I also told them, you know, you never know until you know, just put it out there. At the end of the day, what's to lose? You know, someone laughs at it, you know, it is what it is. That's life, you know, people will laugh at you, people will ridicule you. I think one of the things I heard a while back that really inspired me was Kevin Hart. He said when he started doing stand-up comedy, people used to laugh at him and boo him off stage. Okay, look at him now. He's one of the most funny guys. He has many successful stand-up comedic shows. So that was something for me, like if I would perform and I would make a mistake, you know, I would just have the attitude, this is what it is. You know, you make mistakes, you grow, you learn, and you move on. So for when people come to me and they say, you know, I have poems that I want to do, but I don't know how to express it. I don't know if I should put it out. I don't know what people will think. People might laugh, blah, blah. I tell you, know, just put it out there and see what happens. See what it gets you. See what can come out from it, you know?
You see, Kareem, it's not too late.
What to
Yes,
perform?
to perform your poem.
I will. I have a poem there for somebody. I might drop it tonight, you know, I don't know. But I know you spoke about being on, you know, being on stage. The performing aspect, not because you're a poet intrinsically means that you will be able to perform, go on the stage and do that. So how does one actually go from maybe being able to put something down on paper, but then actually go out there like you've done and perform it and express it?
Because we be seeing you, see your little hand movements. See you.
Well, to be honest, I try not to, I don't really focus on the people or anything when I get there. Like I don't look at people. Like if I'm performing the poetry, I would look probably over your head, but from the distance, it will make it seem like, you know, I'm staring at you in the eyes, but I'm not. I'm actually looking over your head or something like that. And I try not to focus on people for any distractions, but just focus on what I've memorized, sorry, and I just kind of perform it to see who gets the message. Just to ensure that people get the message as best as possible. So from writing it, ensuring, practicing it in front of the mirror over and over and over. If I make a mistake, I start over and over until it just gets through. So it just flows normally. So that way I'm able to do more, able to express myself more, look left, look right, talk to people, focus on people, do different things without having to, you know, to really be distracted by anything because they're already mesmerized by my head.
And the next big poem of yours, I'm looking forward to it, but I get the feeling that in the future anything we see from you will be something truly from the heart. And you know, you have your ideas down, so we cannot wait to, you know, see it.
It was from the heart.
So speaking of from the heart, what's a poem that you look back on and you really cherish, or you would say like, okay, this one has, you know, obviously all will hold some special place, but
For
the
sure.
one you look at and you say like, yeah boy,
For sure.
that's the one. Which one would be that?
Definitely Born on the Bridge.
Okay.
Because Born on the Bridge, to me, just the way that I was able to express it in the music video, and just because of what I went through during the depression and everything, and what I heard happening when I wrote it at the time, you know, it really was a powerful part of my life writing that, and a very emotional time, you know. So the people I hope I've impacted, and the people who have told me that the poem, you know, very much impacted their lives and changed their lives, you know, I think that one holds a very special place, yeah.
And you know, just for future purposes, and of course we want to get people to you and your work. Where can Solutions find you?
You can find me on YouTube, and you can also find me on Instagram.
Drop the handle on YouTube. Come on, Ethan.
YouTube is Ethan Fletcher,
Okay, good. Okay, you're legit. I know.
and Instagram is ethanj.r.fletcher. So
We should explore those middle names. No, it's fine. Another
Nah,
time.
cool. But what's the next step for maybe Anita and Fletcher? You obviously produced the other one just recently. So what's maybe next for you?
Next, I'm working on some music videos. That's the hip hop aspect. But right now, like I said, I'm just jotting down different ideas, and see what comes. I tend to go based off inspiration. I don't really just write for writing's sake. So if something really inspires me, just to bring out the power in it, I tend to go based off inspiration rather than just writing anything that comes to mind. But right now, I'm just working on some music. Yeah, so it's just a mixture.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you also very
Ethan,
much.
well,
Ethan.
thank you for coming through. Allowing us to, be part of your mind for a few minutes, and I hope the St. Lucian public enjoyed the interview with Ethan. So I want to thank you for coming.
Yeah.
So right now we're gonna segue into a break, because up next we have the jazz aspect, the king of the sax, Isman Lovins. So we're just gonna take a short break, and then when we get back, we'll be here with Isman.
2023 is being celebrated as the Year of the Youth in St. Lucia. The Ministry of Youth Development and Sports sees the opportunity to partner with USAID's Wiry program and wholesale free camps for young people 12 to 17 years old.
First of all, we are here today because the Wiry team, the Wiry program from the USAID, felt it necessary to run such fantastic Youth Easter Connect camp.
Youth Easter camps were held in Grosile, Ancillary and Viewfort. In Viewfort, 70 young people enjoyed 6 full days of activities designed to build life skills in self-awareness, leadership and teamwork, communication, conflict mediation, and a safe use of social media.
Use social media to show positivity and what you stand for. Thank you.
Be a good leader. Teamwork makes the dream work. Let's work together.
The method of games, sports, art, and music were used, and participants received certificates at the closing ceremony in Viewfort on April 19, 2023.
So now we have an open mic. I want to invite a few participants to share with us what the experience has been like for the past few days.
My name is Aliana Colimo. This talk was very exciting and I had a lot of fun. It was very nice making new friends and learning new things. I learned about leadership and teamwork, and because of this I can be a better leader at school and even at home.
My name is Bishop Emmanuel, and I'm very happy that I decided to join the camp. Being here has been a privilege, and although I joined late, I still learned a lot. For example, I learned teamwork makes the dream work. I learned leadership skills, I learned how to be at peace with myself.
Teamwork. And a lot of those skills, participants, as you go back into your community, you go back into your homes, this will friend will share it. You go on the football field, you're on the court, you will be faced with situations where you will then have to put those skills into practice. And that's why your presence here today should not be undervalued.
All right, guys, and we're back, and we have a new guest, a saxophonist. I've been told not to use the previous
king of the sax. That's what he said.
I've been told not to use that expression. But we're here with Mr. Isman Lovins. So I don't know if you want to maybe introduce yourself to the public. Those who may not know you, they may have not heard of. Maybe they've heard of you. They probably have heard of you.
Maybe.
So just introduce yourself.
Hi, good night, everyone. My name is Isman Lovins. I am a saxophonist. Been playing for 15 years. Done mostly solo gigs. I used to play with bands. People know me from the St. Lucia School of Music back when I was at secondary school, and the ASAP band shortly after. Yeah.
All right.
Awesome. How did you get into playing the saxophone? You said 15 years.
Yes.
It's a long time.
Long time. I come from a musical family, so most of my siblings are musical. My eldest brother, he sings on the cruise ship, Demas James. My other siblings, they all play an instrument or sing. So growing up, it was like your natural calling to become a musician, coming from a family that I came from.
You have an opposite of a family.
The saxophone specifically, when I was younger, I used to watch kind of a cheesy joke, but I used to watch a lot of the Steve Harvey show. I don't know if you know about it.
Yeah, for sure.
And before his sitcom, the introductory music, it was the saxophone playing. So I don't know. Every time I see that saxophone, my eyes would just light up, and I want to play that instrument. So one time I went to the Castros Comprehensive Secondary School. So one time it was lunchtime and the School of Music was having a showcase. They were trying and recruit new students into their program, their concert band program. So with my interest in music, of course, I had no experience in music whatsoever. But obviously I'm interested, so I went in, I saw what they were showcasing. And then I saw the saxophone. I was like, oh, they have saxophones in St. Lucia. So I was like, okay, well, I want to sign up and do that. And right there and then, I signed up, called my mom on the spot. She doesn't have your phone in school, but I called my mom on the spot, told her I want to join the School of Music, play the saxophone. And that was it. Unfortunately though, when I got there, all of the saxophones were in repair. So
really they don't have saxophones
I actually started playing the flute, which I hated for 3 months, and then finally a saxophone was available to me and I started playing.
Awesome.
That's a really interesting
I loved that
story. So considering you had that 3-month wait to get your saxophone, how do you feel after 15 years of playing?
Best decision I ever made in my life. Well, that 3 months was horrible. Not horrible, I should say, but
that's
the flute and the saxophone have the same fingerings in terms of performing. So it was the teacher at the time, Mr. Ryan Finn, he was like, hold on to this instrument, it's kind of the same fingering, so that when you get the saxophone, it will be easier for you. So it wasn't a total waste. But then when I got the saxophone, it came naturally to me. And natural to the fact that after 1 year, you would not tell the difference between me and one of the most advanced players at the School of Music. That's how much I really practiced and put in the work into the saxophone. So after playing for 15 years, I can tell you, it has been a wonderful journey being a musician. Growing up, I listen to my siblings, they're talking about traveling the world just because they are musicians, and even playing gigs at hotels and weddings and different events, and they're talking about people coming to them saying how well they either sang or played. Now, I always wanted that for myself. So after 15 years and doing all what I have done, all of the events that I've played, all of the stages that I've played, it has really been fulfilling. It has opened a lot of opportunities to me. You name it, whether it be academic or musical, just by playing, I have exposed myself to so much that I am so grateful for.
You see, St. Lucia, patience, it's everything. All good things come to those who wait. Even if we do it begrudgingly, it's fine. Isman, you say a lot, and you have been in that limelight. You have been propped up on that platform. You participated in Art in the City. I know also in Wood and Altered Scale, the Spoken Word Nights, the Spoken Word Nights, and also last year in Jazz Sampler, and you did it exceptionally, I must tell you. And you mentioned when you started out, after 1 year, you were very advanced. So what were those first, was it in a group? What were those first performances like? And also one of those first solo performances?
Well, being at the School of Music, especially the director I had at the time, he kind of introduced us to so many different stages. It was always in a group. So we had the concert band, where it was like orchestra kind of, but only wind band, only wind instruments, sorry. And then there was the jazz band, which was a slightly smaller group, but it was only comprised of the saxophones, trumpets, trombones, and like a back section. So I got that experience, and then further down the line, a few years later, he then constructed a combo where it was only 7 of us, and they called us the Black Ants.
Why do they call it?
It's a should I say traditional name? Because it was like a group that was before us, and they basically just renewed the members. So it's like that was their staple kind of.
Okay.
So we played all over, all different jazz shows, jazz in the South, jazz on the Square, jazz side lawn. We were all over the place. And so in terms of getting on stage, for me, that was my beginning. Eventually, I started out doing weddings. Playing weddings for food, basically. Just to get that exposure, because you don't get anywhere without starting from the bottom. And that was my bottom. Starting, somebody wants a saxophonist for a wedding or even a funeral. I do play at funerals as well. And they know you're not so experienced, so they take advantage of that as well. But for me, it's about exposure. So I remember playing at weddings. My vice principal at the time, who is the principal now at Cassius Compre, she would have these weddings and she would tell me, Isman, come and play with a family member or friend. But then what happened is that whilst you're playing at these events or at these weddings, other people are hearing you. And it was actually, I was in Form 5, where somebody approached me, I had no idea who the person was, and I got my first opportunity to go to the States and perform. So all expense paid kind of thing. And I was like, all of that coming from a wedding that I charged nothing for. So it's just the exposure, and from there, the career just continued building, meeting more people, and that's where the solo aspect started.
So speaking about that exposure and the 15-year-long career and all these stages, what's one of the most, I guess, memorable performances or stages that you have been on? I understand that a wedding for food might be tough to beat. I understand it might be tough to beat, but when you look back, what's one of those stages or those platforms that really means a lot to you?
Man, it's a tricky question because there are more than one and in different genres. So I can say, starting off with Jazz Festival, that was like the peak. I mean, every musician in St. Lucia wants to be on that jazz stage. So Jazz Festival was the first one. When it comes to soca music, I was actually involved with Tennyson John for a short stint of a year or so. We were part of his band and we played with him main stage. That was the Friday night, Caribbean night, a few years ago. So that in itself was like another peak. And then I also had the opportunity to play for orchestra conducted by the OAS in Jamaica. And that in itself was out of this world, because I even had my own little solo. Imagine playing with 100 and something musicians from all over the world, Venezuela, Cuba, all over the world. And so each of them with different genres of music, and I got that opportunity, so I hold these three at the top.
Oh my, Isman, you have me there, so proud of you, my goodness. And I know for sure that we have some young musicians, particularly those interested in an instrument like yours, who are wondering, I have an interest in this instrument, I want to take this forward, but they're not too clear, because we know there are opportunities available when you participate in sport particularly. And you mentioned that academically, playing the saxophone and being really good at it and working at it, it opened doors for you academically and internationally, regionally. Can you just expand on those?
In St. Lucia, I would say, well, my avenue was the St. Lucia School of Music. I give all the props to them because, and my director too, Mr. Ryan Finn, he's no longer at St. Lucia School of Music.
I'm sorry, guys.
But he was a very connected person in terms of, and all of it is just about experience and putting yourself out there and meeting different people. As a young person and wanting to have a musical career, I would encourage them to, you know, go talk to the experienced musicians, whether it be me, whether it be Barbara Cuddy, because that's part of it as well. A group of us, we used to be on a Saturday night, Rodney Bay, that time they had Froggy Jacks or whatever, and we used to be playing amongst the seasoned musicians. And that's where you make the connections, and they themselves recommend you to other people. And through that, I mean, networking is one of the most important things. And as a young musician, I would encourage you, don't be shy. I mean, we don't expect young musicians to be perfect, but we see that you're willing, and we see you putting in the effort, and we'll always like make you tag along and recommend you, etc. So young musicians just have that network and have that support system, other musicians, and the world is yours after that.
It gets me particularly excited, and I'm looking forward to speaking just more on that, because I really do want to push reaching out for those opportunities and asking seasoned musicians, like not being, you're telling them, don't be nervous, right? Don't be nervous to ask. You need to be, yes, you need to be that step, you need to be pushing or reaching for opportunities and for information when you're growing up, because you can't do it alone.
Cannot do it alone.
Yes.
All right. So we've spoken to you for a little while, but obviously for that little percentile maybe of the population who have not been
graced,
or they have not been graced, you know, with your prowess, you know. We're going to play a short video so the audience can hear and see the best of his man.
That's right.
Fantastic sounds. I mean, wow. But I can't help but notice with these instruments, it requires a lot of blowing, pause, but a lot of like lung capacity to do that. So how difficult is it getting all that air out and doing that?
I mean, it's not difficult. Anything you want to do, you have to train for it.
Right.
You guys as a host, I'm sure you had some kind of
training experience
or something. Well, you're more comfortable than I am, I can tell you that. But from the beginning, it was hard work. Where when I started, I actually joined our track and field team from at Cassius Comprehensive.
You're taking that training serious?
Yeah, my musical instructor, he told me that running helps because it helps build your capacity, breathing capacity. So I actually joined the track and field team, which I discovered another gift that I had at the time. I'm not sure about now, but at the time, I ran, and well, you have your exercises that you do with the saxophone as well. And you know, eventually you're able to last longer and longer and build that breathing capacity. So it's just, even now, if I don't play for, say, a matter of weeks, I have to go back and train myself for that.
Yeah, it's not just sport. Yeah. And you gave major props to the School of Music, and of course they do have that. They do have that to account for you. But what do you think, or what's your take on schools themselves nurturing that, well, these gifts and making music a priority for their students?
As a teacher myself,
I know.
and a music teacher at that. The schools, it's kind of difficult. I mean, you have schools that are fully supporting their young people, but then for me, speaking as a teacher, number one, finding the talent can be a little bit difficult. You have those students that probably sing from church or sing elsewhere, and they're already in the forefront, and they let you know that they can sing.
No, I don't sing.
But then you always find these hidden talents that those students who play instruments even or sing, but you don't discover them. They stay hidden, and that happens in a lot of schools. But in terms of encouraging and whatever support that the school can give, I find that we have so much work to do in St. Lucia in terms of the art schools, especially music. I mean, you have schools where you have music teachers doing magic because there aren't any instruments at the schools. And many of our schools are like that. And imagine you going and teach a music class with no instruments. What are you going to do? So I really think that we need more support at the schools in terms of bringing in some instruments for the kids. I mean, materials, training as well. It's a difficult task being a music teacher in a secondary school. And majority of the time you have to resort to either teaching choir and these kinds of things. But we do have like calypso competitions. We do have a few performances that students do participate in, but for the most part, having that solid music program running at schools, it's a very difficult task.
And how have you yourself, I guess, circumvented those challenges? How have you kind of adapted to that?
Well, from the beginning, it has been trying to get students to get at least a recorder, which not all the time they would want to, because some of them will think it's just a toy. But as of recently, I'm a teacher at the St. Joseph's Convent right now, and we own a steel pan yard. So we have all of the steel pans there, and quite a number. So when I do have a music class, I make use of that. I'm not much of a steel pan player, but I mean, once you learn the musical language, it's easy to, translate that into another instrument. So I use that to my capacity and at least have the students as a classroom perform together, which they enjoy majority of the time.
I mean, you spoke about instruments with the pan, and then I know earlier you mentioned you started with the flute, but you didn't really like that. But you found your passion with the saxophone. I know after a while, musicians tend to form an attachment to their instrument. Is that something that you have? Does it have a name? Do you take care of it? Do you polish it?
No name, but I would say I would hardly ever say my instrument is for sale. I don't think I would ever say that, because each of them have like some sort of sentimental value. And even if, it was giving me trouble just before I came here. But then it's like all of what we've been through. It's like raising a child, honestly. You get that, you start as a musician, and it's literally raising a child. Because you have to put in the work for you to get what you want out of that instrument. And when you finally get that, it's like, why should I let it go? And you find a lot of musicians that have an instrument that they will not sell because they have that special connection with that instrument. Just maybe they played on a big stage with that instrument, or that's the instrument they grow up playing, and they would just not let it go. But I would say though, as a musician, you do come to that stage where, boy, well, every musician should come to that stage where it becomes challenging. And being a professional, it's challenging because by the time you think you're it, you go on Instagram and then you get the next little kid comes and just wipes you away. So it's always a learning experience and just trying to do the best.
Well, at one point you were that kid because you said you learned it in a year. So to see that come full circle now, or having to constantly adapt, how has that process been?
Challenging, challenging, and knowing not only people from St. Lucia, knowing people from all around the world, and meeting other musicians from all around the world. It's a challenging thing, but it's so beneficial because you learn different cultures, you learn different styles of playing, and now we have sort of a modern age playing in terms of sound and tones that, people that you just have to try and adapt and try and learn their way of playing. So it's challenging, but it's fun at the same time.
Yeah, you brought up coming up and learning from other seasoned professionals and musicians. How's it been like now being a seasoned professional and having younger, maybe those interested in saxophone but music, coming up to you?
Oh, well, you do feel a little, happy that someone looks up to you, but I still look up to who I was looking up to when I started. So, it's a cycle, and I just don't want those that are younger to stop looking up to people. That's the lesson number one. You need to go to your phone or whatever you listen to music to and look at the icons, see how they play, hear how they play, and try and mimic whatever they do so that you get better. And that once you just stick to that, then you have no problem. So I'm encouraged when I see younger people, especially I find after my year at the St. Lucia School of Music, there was a huge breakdown because when I left School of Music, the band was like 100 and something students. And now I know that they're actually struggling to have 50 or even 20 students. So I know there is a huge gap in terms of the number of musicians that are coming out right now. Right now, I think they're starting back up again, which I'm happy to see. But I would really like to see programs that would reach out, because back in my time, we had a program where you pay like $50 for the term. You don't get one-on-one classes, but you're involved in a music program. And that's where I came out of, paying $50 for a term. And I don't see much programs like that anymore. If you want to learn music, I guarantee you, paying $400-500 a month. So I want to see programs that can bring that kind of learning back, where you can reach everyone, because you never know the next Babraka Day sitting there and just cannot afford to pay classes, but we're losing that person to the cost of lessons.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you speak about encouraging youth, so hopefully a youth watching will be inspired by the interview portion and also inspired by a performance we have coming up. So we're going to cut to a short break, and then when we get back, Isman is going to sign us off, and that will be episode 4 of Crossroads.
Thank you.
The Ministry of Youth Development and Sports, in partnership with USAID's Youth Resilience, Inclusion and Empowerment Program, known as WIRE, and the National Youth Council, recently held 3 Easter camps in Ancillary, Beaufort, and Grosley.
I learned about mediation and how to handle your conflicts peacefully.
Being part of the camp, it made me realize that there's a lot of things that they face. Most of it they don't speak about, and we need to create avenues to give them a safe place to express themselves.
As part of its recognition of the Year of the Youth, MYDS enrolled 135 youth 12 to 17 years to participate in the free camps. The goal? To build young people's life skills including self-awareness, conflict management, and peer mediation so that they're empowered to prevent conflict in their communities that may lead to violence.
When I leave here on the last day of camp, that I will be a better changed person, have self-awareness, control my emotions, and sometimes it's okay to have mixed emotions.
Youth workers and officers from the MYDS, community volunteers, and youth leaders from the NYC led the free camps, using a positive youth development approach that focuses on young people's unique assets, showing them how they can become agents of peace within their communities.
And guys, we're back. Isman is tuning up, and then he's gonna start his performance shortly. I don't know if you want to plug his socials
Yes, of course.
just while he tunes in.
And this is particularly for young musicians and those interested in the saxophone and the instruments that are much like it. He's on Instagram, he's on Facebook. You can find many videos of him on YouTube. But do reach out, and we at Crossroads, we implore you to, nurture that gift, and you'll get all the good things coming to you. He's testament.
All right, so let's send it to.
Yeah, we're
let's send it to
headed.
Isman. We're gonna head now, so he's ready to start.
Enjoy.
Wow, amazing, amazing, amazing.
Truly.
I wish the concert was longer. It was really wonderful to hear. So I want to big up Isman and hope you continue doing your thing. Also Ethan as well, continue doing your thing. So guys, that wraps up another episode of Crossroads. Before we kick off, I just want to shout out a loyal viewer, my sister Valin Eugene, who's also a fan of Ethan Fletcher, so big up her. Krista, you have any final words?
No, we're putting a close to jazz officially in St. Lucia. I'm just going to coin it. I'm saying it. We're closing
Yeah,
out
we
jazz.
officially close jazz in St. Lucia, yeah? Crossroads.
Yes.
So guys, we'll catch you
continue
the next
to use
time.
our nomination link and we'll catch you in the next one.
All right.
Bye.